Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. On Christmas night 1776, the Hessian Army, a group of mercenaries working in the service of the British Empire, partied the night away in Trenton, New Jersey. They were helping the Brits put down a rebellion from the pesky American colonists when they were ambushed in a surprise attack led by the commander-in-chief of the American Army, George Washington. Now, Washington led a daring attack across the chilly Delaware River in the dead of night and pounded the Hessians in an attack that would strengthen the surge of the American Revolutionary cause. His victory was vital in hindsight. Washington was famous during his 8 years as the leader of the Continental Army in that he actually rarely won any battles. His strength was in his ability to bounce back and withstand the enemy, which he did brilliantly throughout the duration of the war. But in the early morning hours of December the 26th, 1776, Washington won a rare victory, and it came at the perfect time as the morale of the American army was running thin after consecutive military losses that year. The Americans were encamped in Pennsylvania on the coast of the Delaware River, several miles northeast of the all-important city of Philadelphia. Across the river, a Hessian force was encamped at Trenton, New Jersey, numbering just under 1,500. Now, the Hessians quickly were German soldiers, as we said earlier, in service of the British Empire, kind of like mercenaries. The Christmas night temperatures were so cold and the weather was so bad that of the 3 regiments of Americans who set out to cross the river, only one actually made it. 2 others were forced to turn back due to the icy conditions, and that force included Washington and his men who made it to New Jersey. There, the Americans pounced on the Hessians. They were an army, by the way, that was taken completely by surprise, many of whom were drunk, or at least not in the fighting form, as they celebrated Christmas into the early hours of the next morning. The Americans dealt a massive blow to the Hessians, capturing over 900 soldiers and only losing a handful of their own. Now, the big impact of this victory was in morale. Coming at the Christmas holiday only months after the Declaration of Independence was signed, and also months after several losses, this was a boost that the Americans desperately needed. The fervor of the Revolution grew as a result, and though the war would not end for another 7 brutal years, the Americans would outlast the British and would win their independence in 1783. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.